Aloha, party people. You are listening to Inside the Desert Oasis Room, episode number 134. This episode is sponsored by Tandawai Rum, the world's largest rum producer and winner of over 170 international medals in the past 4 decades. Check out their webpage at tandawaiusa.com or follow them on Facebook or Instagram at tandawaiusa. This episode is sponsored by Heartland Hemp and Supply Company. All products are broad-spectrum, THC-free, organically grown, and made in the USA. And shipping is free on all orders. For more information, follow them on Instagram at HH Supply Company or place your order today at heartland-hemp.com. This episode is brought to you by the Magic Zombie Glass, which turns your regular tiki cocktail into a potent voodoo potion that will raise the dead before your very eyes. Just pour a cold beverage into this authentic 13.5-ounce chimney-style glass, and a zombie will magically come to life. Add a bit of mystery and excitement to your backyard luau's this summer by heading over to the Magic Zombie Glass Kickstarter page. For only $20, each order comes with a Magic Zombie Glass and other exclusive collectible items, only available through the Kickstarter campaign. This campaign ends on June 30th, so act fast. Head to Kickstarter now and search for the Magic Zombie Glass. Again, that's Kickstarter.com and search for Magic Zombie Glass. This podcast is also sponsored by the Tonga Hut. Opened in 1958, the Tonga Hut in North Hollywood is LA's oldest continuously run tiki bar. Dine in a secret tiki hideaway or learn about rum and rum history at one of their educational seminars. And if you're up to the challenge, take the journey to join the Loyal Order of Drooling Bastards. For information on events, Rum Club, and more, go to tongahut.com or find them on Facebook or Instagram. Today we chat with Holden Westland. If you're a tiki fanatic like me and you've got a tiki mug collection of some sort, you most likely have something that's passed through the hands of Holden Westland. Holden is the founder, owner, and CEO of Tiki Farm, the world's largest manufacturer of tiki mugs, bowls, bar products, and more. On this episode, we chat about the origins of Tiki Farm, how the tiki mug business has changed over the years, and what the future holds for his iconic brand. As always, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did bringing it to you. And if you did, hit that subscribe button. Subscribing makes it easier for you to follow our adventures. Shares on your social media pages are always appreciated, and if you'd like to help support the show, go to desertoasisroom.com to pick up some merch or make a donation. This podcast does not survive without the help of its sponsors or its listeners, so every purchase or donation, no matter the size, is totally appreciated and helps keep this podcast coming to you every week. Okay, here he is, the mastermind behind Tiki Farm. Give it up for Holden Westland.
Desert Oasis Room.
So how you doing, Holden?
Good. I'm good, Adrian.
Awesome. I finally got you on the show.
I'm so happy.
And the irony is that I've been to your shop I was looking for you the night that I was down there for the Bartenders Guild.
And I was away.
And you were away. And I was hoping to get you on the show at that time, but that's okay. For our listeners that don't know, I'm sure everybody knows who Holden Westland is. The mastermind behind Tiki Farm, the first mug manufacturer in the resurgence of the tiki subculture, revival, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Let's tell our listeners how Tiki Farm got started. I think it's an interesting story.
Oh. Tiki Farm is a byproduct of an early .com era business I had called eBachelorPad.
Right.
eBachelorPad was a very early, late 90s, really the boom era, dial-up era of the internet. And it was a click-through site with actually a flash illustrated Swank Island with our host and your host, Sammy Swank, and his sidekick Partiki. And it was pretty funny, and it's still out there on the internet. I found it.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I'll point it out to you.
Who was Sammy Swank? Was that you?
No, Sammy Swank
was just like a mascot.
Sammy Swank morphed from a portly Aloha shirt wearing guy to a smoking jacket, kind of Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Brian Ferry, Roxy Music kind of guy. Partiki was his little sidekick. So, anyways, it was a website that was dedicated to commerce for the ultimate bachelor pad. Amongst our areas of e-commerce was tiki mugs, and other tiki ephemera.
You weren't manufacturing your own mugs at that time, right? Those mugs that were sold there were...
It was all kind of very, very close. I wasn't when I started it at first because I was bringing those, the old Orchids pops, the new pops new repops in. And they were I didn't like them. They had a lot of problems with quality.
Right.
And the lady didn't allow any returns, and she was like, "No returns. Our mug's cheap." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, your mugs are cheap." Yeah, but I couldn't argue with her. So I wanted to make something because I'd been in distribution with my brothers in a previous scientific life before that. So anyways...
Which I think people will find interesting that you were in pharmaceuticals, right?
Well, I was in clean room industry specifically. My brothers and I started a business together, and we outfitted pharmaceutical, semiconductor, medical device, compounding for the pharmaceutical industry. Then also anything that electrostatic discharge. So we had a pretty wide array of pretty interesting clients. Some really interesting birds I met along that journey for sure.
Right.
It's like most of them are literally rocket scientists or nuclear physicists, and about one out of every 10 was so cool and such an interesting person, and those are the ones I kind of gravitated to. So it made it fun.
Yeah, yeah. It's an interesting path to go from that to tiki mugs.
Yeah, I didn't like that line of work because my responsibility basically was if there was anything that entered a room that interfered with the production of something that was 20 microns,
right,
which is essentially the diameter of a hair strand.
It's clean room stuff. So
different ratings and what have you. Anyways, so that was that, and we did well. We sold that off to a Fortune 500 NASDAQ 100 company. Our mom was our biggest investor, and we sold off. For the most part, our main reason for selling was because Mom's health was fading.
Okay.
We wanted to make sure that she was covered. No sooner did we sell that she got better. Mom's healthy, so that's number one.
That's the key.
So back to your bachelor pad. It was tiki, mid-century furnishings, not furniture, because I was doing it out of my garage.
And how was this? I mean, my thought is that e-bachelor pad was the escapism part of what you used to do. If you were in pharmaceuticals or clean room stuff, right? The fun stuff, the escapism was that was your outlet, was e-bachelor pad.
Hey, that's true. That is absolutely true. It was a fun left turn. We had sold the business, so I was in a position where I could make some changes, take some risks.
Yeah,
and
you sold an old Porsche too.
Oh, dude.
I had to bring that up because I'm a Porsche guy.
I know you are.
I've got my Speedster, and you had showed me photos of yours.
1962 356 Super 90 Cabriolet split grille model phase out, original European luggage rack, first year auto dimming mirror, the first one invented, with all the original 1950s and 60s badges on it, yellow plate, sub 60,000 miles. Sold it for $38,500, and now it's worth about $200,000. I
was going to say that's probably like $250,000 now.
It's a top one. Oh, man.
Yeah.
And that was out on the website for a long time, or the web for a long time as well, too, but that website finally went down. So, which is good because it was a sad venture to go to that website. But anyways, well, I'm happy with the decision.
I had to throw that out there because, it's a car. It's just a car. It's a cool car, but it's just a car. But now, this is who you are. Tiki Farm is who you are. Right. And you had to take that step to get to where you are today, to become Tiki Farm, because my understanding was that helped you start the business, right?
That and a few other moves.
That step, and
and a few others. And I was trying to maintain a portfolio. The stock market went to hell in a handbag, and I was infusing money into Tiki Farm, and basically it was a labor of love. It was a passion. The escapism part was one thing. Tiki, being a Southern California native, of all the things I was doing, and by the way, I was also with e-bachelor pad. We had vintage burlesque videos, vintage drag racing videos.
Right.
I represented the Ultra Lounge series when it was brand new. And I even had my own line of cut. I was doing cut and sew of Aloha shirts and other things too. Whatever made sense, that kind of made for a swanky pad.
There you go.
That was it.
There you go.
So,
and Tiki Farm was really, you changed the game because I think the only one making tiki mugs at the time was probably Bosco.
Bosco was making mugs. Here we go. Bosco maybe had a half dozen mugs, and I even repped Bosco. Monk Tiki had one mug.
Okay.
It was their original Mark Thomas Outrigger tribute piece. And I actually repped Monk Tiki when they had one mug. So Monk Tiki and I are right about the same time when we started.
Yeah.
And there was a company called Into the Volcano.
Into the Volcano.
Right?
Yeah.
And they even offered to sell me their molds.
So here's the thing about Into the Volcano. This was a guy, I guess he was doing that when he was a student or something, right? He was,
I believe.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Guy.
He only had,
6, 8?
Yeah, about like a half dozen designs.
Very simplistic.
Always hard to get because I tried to get him online. Couldn't get him because he was a low production person.
Yeah.
But really nice, great, very good craftsmanship.
Yeah. Good quality.
Good quality.
Very
mid-century style
very
now.
mid-century style. I think that's the right word to use. That's an overused term, but I think that's pretty appropriate. Very minimalist.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, minimalist. That's a perfect term too. And I was only able to get a couple of his pieces because I got them from you. Did you know that?
You got them from me at
one of the early Calientes. So we are.
No, you got them from me at Oasis. One of the early.
At one of the early Oasis
in San Diego. I think you got them.
No,
in
I got it
07.
here. I got it from that side. So I'm going to tell that story.
That's even earlier then.
So let's talk about that. So we are at the Caliente Tropics in Palm Springs at the moment for Tiki Caliente, and I haven't seen Holden vending in a tiki event for many years. So it's kind of cool that you're here.
Thank you, bro.
It's a bit of a full circle thing, I think, probably for both of us, because you were vending, the first time you were probably vending, or some of the early events, was when Tiki Oasis was here at the Caliente Tropics.
Yeah.
And you were on the other side of the grass. You had one of the huts that got really hot.
Oh, man, burned my eyelids, bro.
They got hot.
Sunburned eyelids.
I was fortunate enough
to get sunburned eyelids.
We shared a room that weekend.
Yeah.
And I helped Holden with his booth. And here's where I fucked up. So here's what happened. You had a bunch of stuff that you had this thing, you called it the Tiki Farm garage sale.
Yeah.
You made a special sign for it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then you were basically
lane.
selling all your odds and ends, right?
Yeah.
And one of those odds and ends was Into the Volcano mugs from your personal collection.
Oh yeah.
And I remember saying, I've been trying to get these for a long time.
I should have given you some for helping me out, bro.
You gave me cash, but you said, I said,
cash is
are
okay.
these for sale? And you said, yeah, they're for sale. And I said, I really want these. And I remember you said to me, well, you know what? If they don't sell, they're yours. And I said, okay. What I should have done was put them under the table and said, sorry, Holden, they didn't sell.
Oh, man.
But there was like 4 of them, and 2 of them sold. And I think I got the other 2.
Think about this. If those mugs were here now compared to then, and I probably said if they sell for a reason, because I was speculating that probably the interest wasn't quite where it was with mugs, compared to today. And think if I had those mugs here today.
Right.
What, $500 a mug or something
if
crazy?
The people knew who that guy was.
Yeah.
Because he was really obscure.
He was. Was he in the Midwest or something like that? Well, he wasn't out here.
He wasn't out here.
He wasn't out here. But
and then after he made those mugs, he stopped. That was it.
He did. I wonder if he regrets that.
I'm sure he thinks about it because, with the resurgence today, it's had to have permeated his conscience now to where he's probably told his friends, like, I used to make mugs back in the day. Check it out.
And they'll be like, oh yeah, sure you did. Yeah, I made mugs too, pal.
Yeah, exactly. I want to go back to the early days because you and I go all the way back.
Yeah, you're OG. We're OG.
We're OG. All the way back to the beginning of the resurgence.
It's
right?
true. It's true.
I'm not saying that to brag. I just want people to understand how long I've known you. And we were having some laughs yesterday because am I still the first account in the Tiki Farm?
Yeah, you're the
system?
first. You're the first account, and when we close it out, you were the last account because I had an extra 0 on one of the GL entries, which screwed up my books, and so I had to do my books manually that year, and I never wanted to go back to that transaction because I didn't want to screw them up more. And yeah,
I saw you years later, and you said, you're still the first account in the system. I haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, that's right.
And so for the people that are curious about that particular transaction, I had actually ordered some custom mugs from you for my daughter's 1-year birthday luau.
Yeah.
And she's going to be 17 in like 2 months. That was that long ago. Yeah. And so that particular order, I guess, we try to do something different, right? We try to do like a different glaze. It didn't quite work out.
No,
I was okay with it, but you weren't happy with it.
I hated it.
And
I felt so weird with that glaze because we were trying to go for this dusty pink.
Right.
And it's a little girl's first birthday luau. And it was like silly putty flesh toned.
Right, silly putty.
I'm like, God, it's like I don't want to have a flesh toned mug for a little kiddie party.
Yeah.
It's like creepy. It's like a clown creepy.
Yeah, that's funny.
Hate clowns.
And at the time, you weren't doing... Because I don't remember seeing before that we did some kind of a screen on it.
Yeah, that was early on. Yeah, that was a fully fired water slide fired decal that we had produced. Commemorating her birthday, and that's something we've done quite a bit of. And, here we are making all these left and right turns as a business, and simply put, that's a technology that. Check this out, Adrian. That's something where we should be doing in-house. We never have because we get so wrapped up in stuff. But we're bringing in that technology. We're making some fun left turns and stuff right now. It's exciting again.
Let's talk about the growth of Tiki Farm over the years, because you guys have seriously blown up. You are the premier mug maker for hotels, bars, restaurants, and all kinds of things, special events and things like that. Did you ever envision that Tiki Farm would be this big, the way that it is today?
I had a vision early on, and I can't deny it because it's out there somewhere on the internet, and Squid said it, and I can't deny it because Squid is my original collaborator and my partner in Tiki Crime, said that I wanted to make Tiki Farm the largest tiki mug manufacturer in the world.
You've become the modern-day Orchids of Hawaii. You've probably heard that before, right? Because Orchids, they were making stuff for all the different restaurants in the past,
yeah,
right?
it's a trip. So was, Orchids, Daga, Otagiri. All the old...
OMC.
OMC. Toby. Desert Ceramics.
Yeah.
There's actually a pretty layered history of the past, Orchids being the kingpin. And it was, the Orchids product, that Dynasty about that I was repping. But I didn't know that it'd turn into this.
What do you... what's your production look like on a yearly basis? How many mugs?
We were talking on the way out, and it's something I'm reluctant to share only because it sounds braggadocious. What's that term?
Braggadocious.
We're probably going to make 750,000 mugs this year, Adrian.
Wow.
It's going to be
That's
no
crazy.
less than 600,000, and it might push 750, bro.
Holy
this
moly.
is the only time I'm going to let that out there.
Holy moly.
No
I appreciate
kidding.
you sharing that with our listeners.
Yeah.
Wow. So there are
busy.
There are probably some kind of... I'm sure, like, good and bad, right? I mean, there's some of the pitfalls I see, like, your stuff gets knocked off a lot, man. I mean, that's got to be frustrating.
Well, it is. Check this out. It is. I don't dig it. In my years, in my travels, one of the places I've been to is the Canton Trade Show in China, and it's the largest trade show in the world. I saw knockoffs of Rubbermaid, like top brands. I saw like 35 different types of Swiffers.
Wow.
I'm like, how many Swiffers does this world need?
Everything off.
And they're the skiffer,
Yeah.
They've amazed what they knock off over there. So, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
I don't really want to get into all that.
Okay, so let's not get into that then. Let's change the subject and let's go into something that's a little bit lighter.
Good.
What are some of your favorite designs that you've manufactured over the years?
I got a favorite go-to mug that we have that I like there's a whole debate about do you drink or do you not drink from mugs. I'm a not drinker from a mug maker.
Okay.
But when I do, I grab BA031.
But you can just grab another one off the shelf.
I can.
I love that you just threw out the inventory number, right? The SKU.
31st one we ever made. Mad Mark. And there's a great story behind Mad Mark, and I'll keep it really simple. We were approached by by CBS very early on from the show that was yet to come out to do, and Upper Deck to do this little resin cast idol, which we did. They're out there for Upper Deck Corporation for a show premiering that year called Survivor. And then they wanted us to do a mug, so we took a Marquesan design, Squid sculpted it, put the CBS logo and Survivor down the back. Something happened with the lady I was working with. She went MIA. We had the sculpts. We just scraped off Survivor, scraped off CBS, and made it our mug. And I love that mug because the way it fits in the hand. I like a slightly outward tapered 14 to 16 ounce mug. Favorite designs, Mihana.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Tiki Nader by Rick Riefeld, another wonderful knockoff.
Wow.
I like shag mugs, early shag mugs.
The early shag mugs, I got a story about that.
Oh.
So, back in the day before Tiki had really taken off, when those first set of shag mugs came out, they were everywhere. Tower Records, little mom and pop type of boutique stores.
Yeah, it was fresh.
Yeah, I'd go down to the Lab in Costa Mesa, and there was a little shop in there.
Oh, that's right.
I can't remember the name of the shop. I saw them everywhere, and I remember I pieced that first set together one by one.
Oh, wow.
One piece at a time. And because I saw it everywhere, I would look at what numbers were out there, and if I found a lower number, I'd buy it, and then I'd sell the other one on eBay, right? And this is early days where it was easy to find and inexpensive. Yeah. And then by the time you released the second glazes on those, you released high fire glazes on the second set, right? Or it was still the first set, but it was different set of glazes.
Good pull.
Dude, those glazes were nuts.
I know.
And
beautiful
they
dual
were
tones.
Beautiful,
I know.
Yeah. And then it was crazy. After that, it was hard to get.
Yeah, it was weird. I'd never even contemplated doing a second edition. Shag and my relationship with Shag parallels the starting of Tiki Farm.
Yeah.
Funny little story. Even before I was making mugs, I love Shag stuff. Owned a painting. Approached him. To this day, never have a contract with him. Everything's done on a handshake. Total gentleman. Great guy to work with.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
So I said, I want to make something with you. This is before I was even making mugs. And he said, what do you want to make? I said, I didn't know. And what came to mind, what I threw out when I was sitting with him in his house, throw pillows. Okay. And he laughed. He's like, I don't know if I'm down for throw pillows, Holden. Guess what he's making now? Right. Anyway, so we did the sculpts. Squid did the sculpts. We did the lamps. And I wanted to do the lamp. As
the lamps were cool. I forgot about the lamps.
The lamps
the lamps were bitching, man.
So check this out. I'm like, okay, I wanted it to be a mug, and Josh is like, can you make it a lamp? I'm like, I guess. And then Dave Squid is a sharp dude. Oh, you just get the UL standard. Here's what you do, blah blah blah. And you tie that off like that. I'm like, I guess we can make lamps. So we bought all the lamp parts. Here's a funny. It has nothing to do with anything, but it's funny. The way that you can legally make lamps in volume is you have to get a UL license. You have to be UL licensed.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like a $10,000 license, which I didn't have that money.
Yeah.
But we made them to the UL standard. Okay. Dave knew what he was doing. We looked up everything. The internet afforded us the information how to do it. So they turned into lamps. Did 3 lamps. 3 colors, rather. So I've still got those molds. Maybe I can re-release those as mugs.
There you go.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
I'm working on something with Shag right now, too, that I cannot talk about.
Okay.
I'll let you know it's for the holiday season.
Okay.
It's manufactured in Europe and top shelf.
Okay. That's a great teaser. That's a nice little piece of candy there that people can chew on for a little bit.
Yeah.
Tell me about where you think Tiki is headed, because I don't think I've ever envisioned it to be as big as it is today.
Well, part of what I do is I need to keep, as best as I can, keep my finger on the pulse. even though I haven't been doing the events, it doesn't mean I haven't been working. Actually, it's quite the contrary, and that's why I haven't been
At the
doing
events,
the
yeah.
events. I've been deep in the trenches. The reason why tiki is so successful is craft cocktails.
Okay.
Craft cocktails can even be, you can call them tiki drinks. They're one and the same. That is the basis, in my opinion, of the resurgence. Plus the fact that the mugs they've become iconic.
Yeah.
You know, not just Tiki Farm. I'm talking all mugs.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, vintage mugs, current mugs.
What are your thoughts about other people that are doing like artist style mugs? And
I'm totally cool with it.
yeah, like we talked about that. I remember years and years and years ago, before there were a lot of artisans, when really the only other guys in the game were like Monk Tiki and.
Okay, back in the day, it was Monk Tiki, myself, and Bosco. Danny was dabbling early on. Yeah, it's cool. It just lends visibility to it. There's enough room in this world for tiki mug competition, man.
Yeah.
It's the American way. And if, it validates that it's a movement. And it affords, like John Mulder makes beautiful stuff, and it affords him a wonderful artistic outlet.
Yeah.
And I love John. He's a great guy. So, and Monk Tiki, the Nielsen's are great. And Danny's, I've known Danny, I think, for as long as I've known you, Adrian, or almost.
Yeah.
It's funny. I met Danny. He came to my office one day, and here's how I met him. I was sitting in my office. It's quiet, and I hear something out in the front office in the lobby.
Right.
And there's Danny picking up mugs, looking at the bottom, moving kind of stealthily through there. I'm like, "Hey, how's it going?" You kind of caught him by side, and we talked for a while. It was totally cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, and now there's many others. Who knows? 20, 30, whatever. It's all good.
Yeah. Good stuff. What's the future of Tiki Farm? Where are you headed next? I know that you've had your hands on all kinds of stuff. You've done barware, you've done cocktail glasses. I mean, you're more than just tiki mugs.
Well, we've got people out in this world that either want to kind of collaborate in different areas with a branding collaboration, which is something we're actually kind of talking about now, and spreading our wings in terms of more manufacturing mediums. I love the reason why Tiki Farm. One of the main reasons why Tiki Farm started is because I wanted to make something, and I've been in distribution with my brothers, and eBachelor Pad was distribution, and I want to make other things. I love to create. I'm obsessed with it. It's not a fiscal drive. It's a creative drive.
Okay.
Always has been.
Yeah.
Always has been.
Have you ever thought about sculpting one yourself?
I want to stay in business, bro.
Great answer. I was gonna say you had to have thought about. I'm gonna.
You want a stick man? I can get you. You want a stick man? I can get you a stick man. I can get you a toe.
I know that there's a few people
Toenail
out there
polish,
that collect just Tiki Farm. They want to
Big
have
Lebowski.
every piece in their collection, right?
Oh yeah, and there's one guy who does.
Well, he doesn't have all of them, and I'll tell you why. So there was one time I was in your office, and I asked you a question about something. You started rifling through your drawers.
Okay.
And you opened a drawer, and a mug rolled to the front of the drawer. And I laughed about that. I said, "You have mugs coming out of your asshole, and they're everywhere. There's rolling in the front of the drawer, right?" So then you pull the mug out of the drawer, put it on the desk, and you said, "This is a mug that Squid and I we couldn't figure out how to make it look cool, so we threw a glaze on it, and we still didn't like the way it looked. It's the only one that exists.
I know that mug.
It's got a square mouth."
Yeah.
Yeah, and you said, "It's the only one that exists. I was going to throw it out. Do you want it?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll take it."
Oh, wow.
It's on my shelf. So for the completist that wants to have or thinks they have every
if he
Tiki
hears
Farm
this,
mug,
he's going to throw you
he doesn't have it.
A weird money
he doesn't
offer,
have it.
bro.
He doesn't have it. I have one that he doesn't have. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, it's a one-off piece.
I remember that mug.
Yeah, and it was an ugly mug.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
No offense, Squid. You're awesome,
yeah,
buddy.
no offense to Squid.
We're starting to work together again.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
How is that working out, though? Because he's up in Seattle or something, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where he is.
He could be in Saskatchewan. He could be in.
Well, nowadays you can email a file. Because you're doing like 3D sculpting now.
Not all of them. Some of them we do. We have equipment in house, and that's a turnaround time, or that's a That's generally for rapid turnaround time, although it takes 30 hours to create an average print because we're laying down 20 micron strands of material.
Okay.
20 microns. I think I've said that twice.
30 hours to create
about one master. It's about 30 hours.
So if you screw up, which you had to have screwed up already, then you have to start another 30 hours again, right? Well, hey, we're human, man. Like you mean
like if the machine burps?
Oh, that happens.
Yeah.
Well, the first time you did it, you couldn't have had the perfect one the first time out.
On our 3D printer?
Yeah. Did you?
Dude, technology, bro.
Okay. All right. Well, because my thought is...
Learning curve?
Well, yeah, there's that. You know, I mean, it's still a newish technology.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I don't know where I'm going with that.
And they got you by the short hairs with how much the material costs to print.
Yeah. But it speeds up the process, though, right? Because you're not waiting weeks for a sculpt.
It speeds up the process, and what it does is it gives you what's called a slavish representation of the art. So if you have a client who is very exacting about their art, and we collaborate with our many creative artistic partners that will take their art and render it, the final rendering, if you will, how the client sees it, is exactly how it's going to be sculpted. No margin for error.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So that's another benefit, is that if we have a very strict branding, which we have a lot of very strict branding things we have to take into consideration. So, it's just an added layer. Technology is our friend, you know.
Yeah.
But the bulk of what we do is hand sculpted.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sitting down with us. Are we done? we can keep going if you want.
Got to get to work.
You have a story you want to tell me or anything like that before we wrap up?
No, I just love you, brother. It's so good to see you.
I love you too, Holden.
You know, I haven't been at these events for a while because I've been really hunkered down and keeping my eye on the prize. But it's just I love to create. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Cool.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show. I appreciate everything. Continued success to Tiki Farm.
Thank you, Adrian.
And if everybody wants to check out the website, or if anybody wants to check out the
new
social
website
media, coming soon. Let's throw that out there. TikiFarm.com.
Yep.
At Tiki Farm. Are you on Instagram?
Yeah, I don't even know what it is.
Don't need to, right? Perfect. And if you guys out there have any questions, comments, or just want to leave a shout out for our friend here, Holden, check us out on Facebook at Inside the Desert Oasis Room, or you can go to desertoasisroom.com. All right, party people, we're going to get back to Tiki Caliente. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Holden.
Thanks, Adrian.
Cheers.